So, we've kind of been on this topic of workplace and that sort of environment. So I think today we're going to continue that discussion, but we're going to kind of flip the script, if you will. So today we're discussing different dynamics with your boss, but specifically what a good boss looks like, and if you are a boss or in management or something of the sort, some characteristics that reflect good leadership or management skills.
I like it. So we have condensed a list of a much larger item down to the elite 10, the top 10. If you are lacking in any of these, please contact us. We do coaching.
No, we don't. Don't contact us.
Put it in the comments. We'll coach you.
He'll coach you. No.
Numero uno.
Number one.
Good listener.
Number one.
Yes, I really think this is a good place to start.
Huh? I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Actively hears people out, values input, and makes team members feel understood.
This one it's definitely important and it's definitely critical, but I think what happens with this specific topic is that nobody equates leadership or management with listening. Like, when you think of your boss, you think of him talking or telling you something or sharing something or whatever. It's always them talking. But you never picture your boss just sitting there listening, right? So I think a lot of times it's hard to actually input this characteristic into that position because it's not what's commonly understood.
It's almost the opposite of doing. It's you not doing. It is you sitting back and allowing someone to talk to you, for you to take in information.
Yep.
That's, very different.
And if you're in management or leadership, listening is very critical. And it sounds easy, everyone's like, oh, yeah, you got to listen. But it's actually hard to implement because when your mind is racing with the 1,000 things you have to do, you have to accomplish, and, the people you need to talk to, things that they need to accomplish, anything along those lines, it's hard for you to take a moment and say, wait, I need to stop and ask what this person has to say. Or if they do, not just go, hey, what about this? Okay, thanks. And you're gone. Checked out.
Or listening just to tell them they're wrong or listening to respond. No, listening to hear and understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Making them feel heard. That's this one here.
Mm-hmm.
And it does feed in a bit to number 2, which is kind of going to be an ongoing statement here that's going to feed into the next one. Number 2, strong communicator.
Yeah, I think this one goes without saying. Really. I mean,
it really should, but we're going to say because it's that important.
Because it doesn't always, but it should.
And the notes on this one here is about being uplifting and respectful in your communication style.
Yes, absolutely. And I think this one's going to play into what I had to say kind of goes along with several of the items that we're going to be talking with. It's that oftentimes, especially in corporate America, you see situations where people are promoted based on their skill set or their experience or their how should I say it? Their achievements in the company or their performance. They're not promoted based on their skill set at being a manager or boss. So you have, say your job is sales, okay? People will, you'll get a job in sales, You'll do fantastic at selling things, right? You can sell anything to anybody. And then the next thing you know, they turn around, they're like, hey, we want you to be a sales manager. Well, guess what? Now your job isn't selling. Your job is managing people who sell things.
Mm-hmm.
And you're promoted based on your achievements at selling, but not based on your skills of managing. It's completely different things. And that applies to a lot of different industries, no matter what you're into. That seems to be the standard. If you do well at your job, you're promoted to then managing other people who do their job, but you're not trained on how to be a manager or a boss. You're trained how to do your job well, and then you're thrown into management.
Mm-hmm. Which fits perfectly into number 3, knows their lane.
Yes.
My boss's job is to manage people like me. My job is to help the clients. Mm-hmm. It's not my boss's job to help the clients. Now, can he? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean he spent a lot of time training it. I'll probably know the systems better than he does.
Right.
Because that's my direct job. His job is to work with me.
Yep.
And really staying in your lane in this area here, so helpful. And you were nailing it there. The bosses, sometimes it's often, people get promoted to their level of incompetence.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's, one, it's unfair to them. It's unfair to the company. But it also takes a weird, not humility, but somewhat humility, but still knowing yourself. If someone walks up and says, hey, I want to promote you, and you say, no, that takes that's some inner courage there to turn down a promotion because you know you don't want it.
Yeah.
Or you'd be bad at it.
I can't until you train me.
Ooh, yes. Hey, I want to. I don't believe I currently possess the skill set. What's the training regimen to help me get there? Yes. I want to succeed and you want me to succeed.
Or if you did take the promotion and then you have to have the humility to say, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help.
Yes.
Now, before we go any further, let's also look at this from the prospect of you're still an employee, but looking at your boss or manager or whoever, trying to look through the lens of what a good boss should look like. Or if you're planning to be a boss or manager, what you should be working on now in order to get there. So when we talk about staying in your lane, you need to learn how to do your job across the board.
Yes.
And yes, that's probably the lane that gets you promoted. But that's not, most likely, not what is gonna make you successful at being a boss. And when we talk about staying in your lane, once you know your job, then you get promoted, stop doing that. Stop doing whatever job you were doing before and learn how to teach and lead the people you're managing with. You can't go around saying, oh, well, I'm really good at that, so let me do that here. I know that sounds odd, but especially in my industry, I'm very hands-on is probably the best way to describe it. And it's easy for me to go up to someone that's working for me and me to just, here, let me see that. Let me take that for you. Let me do that. Because I've got a lot of experience in it, and I'm usually pretty good at it. But my job is not just doing that thing. My job is teaching and managing the people that work for me. So I got to not run up to them and say, here, let me see that. Let me do that for you. But hey, why don't you try this? Or, that's not quite right. Try it this way. That's the staying in your lane of knowing what your job is and knowing that it's not doing the job of the people you're managing.
While everyone's goal is to get the job done, it's not your job to do the job. It's your job to help them be better and do the job.
Yep. Well, it's commonly said in my field that, or at least for people that have my role, Your job is not to work, it's to keep others working. That is your job.
And that's not a cop-out of not working. This is the role and how it's designed.
Mm-hmm.
That's very different. Most people don't actually want their boss's job because then they'd have to deal with themselves.
Exactly. And that's exactly right. And if you're looking for the next promotion, make sure you realize you're not going to be doing what you're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
If you like what you're doing, then you get promoted, you're not going to be doing that anymore. You're going to be managing people. And if managing people isn't your thing, then being a boss is probably not for you.
No, if you love just working face-to-face with clients all day, then stay in sales.
Yeah.
Do not go to be sales manager where you're now working with only salesmen and no longer clients.
Right.
No, if you love clients, work with clients. Mm-hmm. If you love helping develop people, maybe let's consider the management role.
Yep.
The next level there. All right. Number 4, curious and continuous learner. You want to be a boss, and you want your boss to be someone who is continually educating themselves and working on getting better at their position to better help you get better at your position.
Absolutely. And from a perspective of someone who is looking for what qualities to have if they're looking to be a future boss, or say you are currently employed and you're looking at your boss through this lens of the qualities that they have, if the person that you're working for is unable to receive any sort of advice or information from someone underneath of him, then that's not a continual learner.
No.
If, for example, you have a boss, say you're in sales, and you go to your sales manager and you're like, hey man, I've got an idea to kind of tweak this method that we do here, and I think it might help, whatever. Or I got this trick I want to try, or an idea or whatever. And their immediate reaction is, nah, we've tried that before, we're not doing it. Or, man, I don't like it, blah, blah, blows you off, whatever. That's not being a continual learner. And if you're looking to be a boss one day, you have to maintain the mindset of, how can I be better tomorrow than I am today? Or what can I learn from this situation or this experience? Not well, I'm the boss, so I know how to do it, and your job is just to listen to me. And that mindset is across the board. You see that everywhere in different people, from the Walmart down the street to the corporate office building in the city. Once someone gets to that title of manager or boss, I'm the boss. I tell you what to do and you do it. That's how it goes. And that's not being a continual learner.
Mm-mm. Number 5, which is so a lot of those ones we discussed before, that's very much a personality. It's a continual learner. It's more the soft skills. This next one's a little bit more of a harder one. Decisive. Not wishy-washy, makes a decision and holds to it.
Yep.
Doesn't drag the decision out. So it's just called decisive, makes bold, important decisions. That simple. Can take input, but does make a decision. That little area of wishy-washiness when what's the policy? Well, I don't know. We're waiting on blah, blah. No. What we need to make a decision. We'll pick an easy one here. 3 coworkers all want to be off on the same holiday weekend. Someone has to decide who's working. You don't want a boss who just kicks the can down the road until the weekend of.
Yep.
Make a decision. That's simple.
Mm-hmm. For this one, I'm actually going to go back to what we've been previously talking about it, and I'm actually going to turn that around 180 degrees. In this situation, it's a little bit different than what we were talking about earlier, in which, you won't be doing your job anymore once you get to managing, right? But on the same hand, you will be much more equipped to be decisive and make quick decisions if you understand what you're making a decision about.
Yes.
Now, that's not once you're a boss or a manager, you're no longer doing the actual work. But knowing that work and that area of expertise that you're in will allow you to be decisive in the field. The best manager was really good at their job, but is even better at being a boss. But they're great at being a boss because they understand the field that you're in. The worst boss is someone that gets pulled from another company doing a different job and gets thrown into the role of boss just because they were a boss somewhere else. And they've got no idea what's going on. They don't know how to do the thing that they're trying to manage. And they're disconnected from the industry, really, that you're in.
Mm-hmm. A manager at a plastics factory warehouse and a sales manager have the same title, but you can't just swap them.
Right.
You don't know how to communicate correctly, most likely, and your process is entirely different.
Yep.
So that's where knowing the position helps.
And I think that's why so many, especially in recent years, it seems like a lot of companies are trying to prioritize promoting from within. Previously, maybe the trend was maybe not so much that, but I seem to see that a little bit more and more of promoting within. Because if they take an individual who started in the company and they learn the process and then they move up, and then they learn that process and then they move up, they're gaining that knowledge as they go through. As long as they're learning the new position as they go, they can take all that experience with them. And when they're at the title of boss, they know how to make the decision because they've been there before.
Mm-hmm. Number 6 is just spread all throughout this, empathetic and human-centered.
Yeah, that's a hard one to find.
Yes. So the details in this one: leads with genuine care, builds inclusive trust, and prioritizes people. So let's bring Papa John into here. I was hearing him do a 3-hour podcast one day, and he was talking about how the most important people that he was in charge of taking care of, for him, was not his customers. It was his employees. Because if he took care of his employees, they took care of the customers. And so he heavily, in his time he was running the company, prioritized, take care of the people. They'll take care of my customers. So just leave that simple. Focus on the people take care of your people.
Without a doubt, of the list that we've made so far, this is by far the most valuable asset that a boss can have. And I would argue one of the most valuable of any asset that a boss can have. Because no matter how well you are at running a business or performing a specific task or whatever it is, if you are not excellent at navigating relationships and personal connection, especially on an employment standpoint, it's going to make your job as a boss so much harder. Because as an employee, your job is to do XYZ thing. You do a task. As a boss, you have to do a task and manage people who are doing the task. And a big part of that is your relationship with those individuals. And if you can't navigate that situation with empathy and all of the other characteristics, but specifically empathy, that go with it, an individual who has that characteristic is much more valuable than one who doesn't. Because oftentimes I think what you see is a boss who is really good at the job, but they lack that personal relationship / empathy. And that's the difference between a great boss and someone who's just good at their job and got put in the title of boss.
It's like this is more from this phrase from the 90s, be a leader, not a manager.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
this guy cares.
Anybody, well, I shouldn't say anybody, but it's much easier to find someone who's good at a specific job than it is at finding someone who's good at personal connection or relationships, professional relationships, and then is good at your industry task versus finding someone who's good at that industry task and then teaching them to be good at the relationship side.
Yeah, quite a difficult jump there at times.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, candid and transparent. Fosters brutal honesty, surfaces issues early, and encourages real talk. That middle one there, surfaces.
Say those again. Say those again.
Candid and transparent. Fosters brutal honesty, surfaces issues early, encourages real talk. This is the guy who actually trusts his employees when they see a problem, they see a hiccup, they see something coming up that's going to become a problem. This is the boss that says, hey, what did you see? Excellent. Thank you for making me aware. Let's work on how we can prevent that from happening. This guy is the guy who encourages you to help everyone.
Yes, absolutely. It's almost like an easy way to phrase it is maybe they're just fostering trust.
Yes.
Right? And maybe that's an oversimplification. But if you've got a relationship with your boss, or if you are the boss and you got a relationship with your employees to where you can call them out, they can call you out, everyone knows what's going on, everything's out in the air, and you guys are just doing your best to accomplish your job, that's going to be a well-performing team. Whereas if you've got the situation where it's like, you got to navigate this, do I say that? Do I not say that? I don't want to damage my shot at, the promotion next month or a raise or whatever. So if you've got that type of a team, they're not going to perform nearly as well as the team that's upfront, honest, everyone knows each other, they know their job, and everyone's just there to do a great job.
Mm-hmm. So I'll use a story and praise my own boss for a moment here. Well, I'm very much in corporate America.
Yeah.
Pretty much all management at my companies they're good at speaking politically. That way it doesn't sound too rough. They're very much focused on the positive.
Right. Okay.
But they're open to it. So I had a situation where I didn't like a particular product we had. Mm-hmm. So my boss asked, tell me about this. And I said, well, this sucks. And here's why. And I told him. Within 5 minutes, she had a higher up in another division on a 30-minute phone call with me to walk me through where I had gone incorrect in my thinking, the assumptions I brought in that was wrong, and then just facts.
Yep.
And all because I didn't get all flowery with, I think this could be. No. I said, this sucks. I don't like it. Here's why. Mm-hmm. And they said, okay.
Yep.
Here is our actual solution here. And I appreciated the fact that I could just go to my boss and say, problem, help me.
Yep.
And it was great because I had incorrect assumptions that I thought were correct, but I was wrong. And they appreciated the feedback, so it was good.
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right. And I can play off of a similar, but not exactly the same. The company that I work in operates off of a very consistent ideology of never stop improving. And part of that is they're very, very supportive, but they're also honest. They will take every situation and they will constantly strive to do better on the next one. So what that means, to correlate with what we're talking about, after we finish a project, great job, this is what went well, this is what didn't go well, and this is how we're going to try to improve on the next one. And no matter what project it is that we're working on, it's always, how do we do better the next time? Specifically when we run into a mistake, an error, a hiccup, whatever it is, if there's an issue of any kind, it's always, this is what happened, this is how we're going to solve it, and this is how we're going to do it differently next time. Because it's an environment of, don't try to hide if you messed up, because as long as we're growing and getting better, that's all we care about.
A safe place to actually grow.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, it's not a situation where they're encouraging you to make mistakes, but they have a small team of high-performing individuals, and as long as you are taking the necessary steps to make sure that mistake doesn't happen in the future, that's what's important. Being upfront, honest, and working on productivity and performance rather than dancing around this dance of, oh, well, trying to hide this thing or make yourself look good here, because the goal's not playing politics in the workplace. Or it shouldn't be, anyway. The goal should be an effective, productive team. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, what we're getting at here.
Mm-hmm. And number 8 builds into this, and then I want to touch back on where you just were. Number 8, uplifting and positive. Speaks positively about the team, motivates and inspires through encouragement and optimism. So in that one here, first, after a job complete, a job well done, you take the moment, good job, team, well done. Mm-hmm. After that, you have now earned the right to make a small withdrawal of what could have went better.
Yep.
If you only start with, well, you could have just done better. If your boss talks bad about you, bad about your projects, bad about your work, why on earth would you want to work for that guy? And if you spoke bad about your people, maybe you're in a management position, why would you expect them to work for you?
Mm-hmm.
They're not slaves. We have plenty of opportunities here.
Absolutely.
Most people do not leave jobs because of pay. They don't leave jobs because of location. They leave jobs, on the whole, for a bad boss.
Mm-hmm.
A bad boss will disrupt an entire company, but a bad boss will do way more damage than even to someone who loves their job. This is it. This is the leave a company. So uplifting and positive, optimistic. Now, that doesn't mean head in the sand.
Yes.
But you want a boss who speaks well of you. You want a boss who, if something good happens on the team, praises the team, and if something goes wrong, says, hey, I didn't properly prepare you guys for this. Mm-hmm. A good boss takes the responsibility on himself, but passes as much of the good stuff on you guys as possible.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're right.
Number 9, visionary. Sees the big picture, sets bold goals, charts a clear, inspiring direction.
I think this one ties in a lot with what we were talking before, in that the main goal of a boss or a manager is to guide the team. It's not to be part of the team, which they are, but it's to guide the team. And part of being, that visionary, idealist type thinking is you're trying to make the team that's working for you as effective as they can be. And looking to see where you can take that team on the next step, the next page, whatever, to make them a little bit better or a little bit more effective is as much your job as anything else.
Mm-hmm. They need to see themselves in the winning shoes. They need to see that they can win, and your job is to help them see that.
Mm-hmm. It might sound a little bit cheesy, but really the best analogy I can think of is if you're looking to be a boss or you want to know what a good boss is like, it's like sailing an old wooden ship. If the boss is out there in the middle, hoisting the sail or chucking buckets of water out from underneath, there's nobody giving any sort of direction on where they're going, how they're doing it, or what they're doing. They operate with one captain whose sole job is to steer the ship. And the rest of the crew knows exactly what to do, how to do it, and when the captain says, go left, they go left. So, like I said, it might sound a little bit cheesy, but that's really the gist of it, is your job as the boss, or what your boss should embody, is the idea of guiding, leading, and directing the team and getting them to be their best self.
And it comes into the final one, number 10, inspirational with integrity. Now this, like you said, we've used the word cheesy a couple of times here. A good, true boss inspires those who work for him. If you worked for Steve Jobs in the heyday of Apple, or not controversial because if you listen to his coworkers, Elon Musk at the beginning with his early companies, they don't care if you're doing 12 and 16 hours. They want to be there. They're inspired by the vision. When we were told in the 60s, we're going to put a man on the moon, at that point, the vision was cast. Inspiration was kindled in there. That is where we wanted to be. It didn't matter. The janitor was not sweeping the floors of an office building at that point. He was sweeping the floors so that way they were clean, so that when people walked through, they could focus on the work because we're going to put a man on the moon. This is this next level where you're not doing the job for the sake of the job. You're doing the job because you're building something great, and everyone wants to be part of something great.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I also want to take a moment to recognize that integrity portion of that last. And this is, I think, missing a lot of times. But no one will subconsciously or not so subconsciously call you out or point out a flaw in you faster than someone who works for you. Take that from experience. But if you've got guys that work for you and you mess something up, they are the first one to point it out. Which in a way is a good thing because they keep you accountable. But if you're going to be in charge of people, you have got to have some amount of integrity. Mm-hmm. Because if you expect anyone else to take what you say with any amount of weight, your character has to carry some amount of integrity. Because your weight as the boss will only last so long.
Yep.
And that's shorter than you think.
You can't say how important XYZ is and then not live X, Y, and Z. Yes. Your underlings, those who work for you, there's a better word for that, but that's the one that popped in mind.
It's not a good option.
No. They will call out your BS, your hypocrisy in a moment. Mm-hmm. And you know what? There is kind of a virtue in calling out truth to power. There is a virtue in that.
Yes.
But the people watching this who are actually attempting to be good bosses, and sometimes it's helping your boss become a better boss. Mm-hmm. These are the things you have to have. It all comes back to integrity, communication, and genuine care for those who you've been blessed to be the manager of. Mm-hmm. That is a blessing. If you don't have, let's say you're really, really bad and they all quit. Now, you're not leading anybody. You may have a title, but you got no one under you. So guess what? You're now back to digging the ditch. You're doing all the work. And no, you don't want that. You want to inspire those. And maybe some people have been blessed with great bosses. I was in a meeting this morning with mine, and he asked a great question. What do you need from me today? What can I do to help you out? It's a simple question. I know he means it. And guess what? My previous boss said the same thing. My bosses so far have been very, very kind in this area. It's been wonderful.
The greatest boss that I ever worked for, and he was fantastic. I wish I had more time to work for him. But his type of management or leadership, really, is what it was never telling people what to do and just expecting them to go do it, or trying to be in as much control or power or micromanaging as he could. His managing style was, hey, what do you think about that? Why are you doing it that way? Have you thought about this? Go ahead. This is your thing. Go ahead. Get after it. Then after you do it, great job. Did you think about this? Maybe think about this one for your next time. It was always a putting you in the driver's seat and then giving you the tools to drive. Not sitting there driving and then telling you how to drive. He put you in the driver's seat and then helped you do it.
Your boss believed in you.
Absolutely.
And that inspires us. So I have one of my higher ups does believe in me. And I've thought about that at work. And I'm like, I don't want to let her down.
Absolutely.
You know what? I want to work harder now. Why? Because I know someone's believing in me. And I don't want to let them down. And that's the positive aspect of this integrity and believing in those other around you.
Yep.
It inspires everyone to be better.
The best boss will make you want to be better. That's what a good boss encourages people to be better and makes them want to be better because of their leadership abilities. That boss that I worked for is one of the few bosses that I've ever worked for in my entire life that I actually wanted to do well because I wanted him to see the progress that I was making. Because I cared what he thought, and I knew that his leadership was going to take me places. So if anything you're looking for in what your boss should be or what you should be as a boss, ask yourself, am I encouraging people, and am I leading in such a way that causes people to want to do better, not just be better because I'm telling them to?
Being a boss is a privilege. Don't waste it.